Setelah badut-badut Israel mencoba memutarbalikkan fakta terhadap apa yang terjadi di Palestina, dan inilah respon dukungan untuk saudara Palestina dari seluruh dunia.
So, South Africa has just finished giving evidence at the International Court of Justice against the State of Israel, and all I really have to say in response to South Africa is that Israel is 100% guilty of committing the crime of genocide, and what South Africa did at the ICJ was truly magnificent, because not only did they pick apart Israel's defenses of saying, oh, we're just defending ourselves because an occupying power can't defend itself, and they also masterfully picked apart the genocidal excuses that you've probably heard on this app of people saying, well, Israel actually gave them orders to leave and they told them to go to safe zones, because as South Africa said, not only have the safe zones been bombed since, but also the fact that the orders were given to people with only 24 hours to execute them. And they went into the explanations of why Israel's acts and the statements of their politicians are inherently genocidal, and perhaps the most masterful work within the whole thing was when they played TikToks of Israeli soldiers clearly interpreting the genocidal statements of Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, if you are someone who was on the fence about what Israel is doing, you should watch what South Africa was saying here, because they're not saying anything new or anything unbelievable. People have been saying Israel is guilty of genocide since pretty much the first days after October the 7th. However, the way that this has been put, the amount of evidence that they have, should push this in the mind of any rational thinker over the line of categorically being a genocide. However, in spite of the fantastic job that South Africa has done, I am not filled with a massive amount of hope, because the judges at the International Court of Justice will not vote on the basis of merit of the case, but rather wider geopolitical aims. So countries like America are never going to vote in support of South Africa, and then you have judges from countries like Russia who may worry that supporting the South African case is a worrying precedent for them, because they have also been accused of the crime of genocide by the International Court of Justice. But, regardless of what this court rules, I believe that South Africa's case is so strong that one day Israel will be found guilty of the crime of genocide. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but it will happen. And those who aided and abetted Israel in this disgusting crime, from Western politicians to the average everyday person who has used their social media to advocate for it, they will pay the price for their crimes.
For much needed good news, Indonesia has filed a case against Israel at the ICJ. This is entirely different from South Africa's ongoing case against Israel for genocide at the ICJ. Instead of genocide, Indonesia is taking Israel to court on the basis of their illegal occupation of Palestine dating back for more than 70 years. I wouldn't be surprised if more cases like this keep coming up to inundate Israel with legal proceedings, because they've been guilty of a lot.
There is no justice in this world. ICJ is a lie. That's it. Thanks, world. We're continuing this alone, as we started this alone.
I'm not from Palestine, but here I stand. My eyes telling 1,000 stories about a land of hope, a land of courage, a land where one child is braver than 1,000,000 men. I am not from Palestine, and the world is blind. They won't open their eyes or even take a stand. Can they hear the children's cries? Or the bombs that are raining from the skies? I know they do. But all they do is justify their crimes. I'm not from Palestine, but I bleed, because every Palestinian's wound is mine. I'm not from Palestine, but I understand that what goes around comes around, and that one day the sun will shine, and my hands will touch the sand of a free land.
Yeah. my name's Nick. I'm from the United States, and I'm supporting Palestine because 2 years ago I went to Palestine myself and lived there, and I realized that I was lied to by the United States. I was lied to by a liberal organization and with liberal rights and liberal ideologies. We should be supporting the Jews, and we should be supporting, if you're not, you're anti-Semitic. Yet I go there and I see the racism from Israelis to Palestinians. I see the segregation. I see the apartheid. I see everything firsthand. It blew my mind. You go to Hebron, you go to Jenin, and you see the separation wall, and it's just an obvious racist apartheid regime, and it's obviously ethnic cleansing. It has nothing to do with Hamas. It's all about just taking land. It's all about money. It's all about politics, and I won't stand for it, and that's why I'm standing here today in this march.
Give an overview of the history. Is it Israeli land, Palestinian land? What happened?
At the end of the day, I could care less, because you can't kill Gazans. You can't just indiscriminately kill people. To try to argue which one is which, you don't kill people. That's as simple as it, right? You don't need to justify one or the other. But historically, this land has been Palestinian. I'm sorry to say, the Israelis were removed in, whatever year. And how many years do you want to go back? Should I go capture my German heritage because 1500s I was German? Do I go kick out people from Germany? And that's 1500s. What about, where was I 1,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago? That's ridiculous. I mean, when you look at their DNA, it's not even Israeli. They're Eastern Europeans. They're European people. This is European colonialism. And it's a shame. It's absolute shambles. So we have to stand up for people that are dying. Gazans are dying. They're just being indiscriminately bombed. We've seen this playbook before, and we have to stop it.
Guess what? This morning,
Yeah.
I went to another class.
Okay.
We had some math. Then we went up to the board. Only 4 people.
Okay.
Then I taught 2 of my friends. 1, 2. This.
What does that mean?
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
I love you.